And here we have a since discontinued Dick's Sporting Goods exclusive. This is a Chinese-made Benchmade, the HK, Heckler, and Koch. This is called the Flak. Flak is basically the anti-aircraft fire that comes from an anti-aircraft gun. So that's kind of what Flak is. I figure it means that instead of a strong criticism. In House of Blade series, we're going to be looking at this one. This is going to be some specs opinions on this HK Flak. This is going to be for my initial opinion on the knife as far as a buy, borrow, or avoid. At the $40 price point that's being sold for on eBay, I personally would avoid it, but you could have this to your door at a different price point. So this is provided by EDC Arizona, being part of that Blade Cert community. So that information will be in the video, so you watch through, and if this appeals to you, let them know, and then once that payment's completed, then I'll have this shipped to you, its new home, instead of back to him. So we're going to start with the hand sizing. So this knife has a lot of information that's kind of unknown, so I'm going to try and fill in some of that information as we go, but not a lot of specs on this knife available. So that's going to be for an adult female in hand, and also at the normal carry is going to be at an angle. An adult male. And also at the angle. So action type on this one has a few different options, but it doesn't really have the Spidey flick. It's more of a Spidey nudge. So that's where you'd actually just pop it open a little bit, and that assist will take over. And the assist on this one is the actual liner. So that's the spring, instead of having the other type of spring, kind of like the Kershaw's, which has a spring in the handle, and it has a little notch that actuates it. This one has the little notch on the blade that actuates the spring that is actually cut into the liner. So that's the way to do that one. I tried to do the middle finger flick, and the detent is very strong, and so it's not exactly enjoyable for that, but you could probably practice on that and get better. The Spidey drop, again, detent's a little bit strong, and then the ridges are a little bit sharp, kind of like Spyderco itself though, but in that drop it's not really the best way to have that open either. So it is spring assisted though, so it does pop open. So if you like that, then go for that as well. It does have an kind of titanium, I believe it's a titanium coated blade, but the steel itself is one that I don't know what it is, so I don't have that comparison as far as what I guess where it sits on the metal chart. But we're going to kind of do comparisons and try to fill in the information the best we can as we go. But we're going to roll into now some of the information as far as the comparison, as far as some of the knives that I have available, and then we'll kind of go on to there as far as other information for this knife. So here's some of the comparisons. So there's going to be the Ontario Rat number 2. Here's the Flak from HK, the Benchmade. And then this is one of my Timberwolf knives, actually the only Timberwolf knife I own. And then here we have the Magnum Alligator. So I do have a review on that one. That's a pretty nice knife. So this is going to be the comparison as far as how it's going to sit in your pocket, and then kind of the retention on all the clips are also pretty decent. So that's going to be that comparison here, and then we'll open them up and see how they look side to side. So we have the HK, there's the 14141 as far as that model number, and then there's going to be the Ontario Rat number 2 in comparison. And we have this one, this is the Timberwolf. And then we have the Magnum Alligator. So the measurements on this knife, you can see in the comparison as far as how they are compared to these knives, but I don't have the specs on that. So we're going to roll into that specification, so we're going to see that right now. So we'll see what the weight is on this one, because I don't have, again, the specifications as far as what it is. So we're going to see what it sits at currently. So that's 115 grams. Don't want fluid ounces. And about 4 ounces. So let's double check that again just to make sure that that's spot on. So 4.1 ounces for that knife, so back to 4. So that's going to be the weight on this knife here. So now going out and looking on the specs as far as what it looks like, and then also the weight. You can kind of determine as far as how you're liking it. So here we're going to do the sharpness test. We're going to be using the Lyman pull gauge and then my little homemade one here. So this is going to be one that we're going to be doing the plane edge on the knife to see where that sits for that sharpness. And he did say that he did strop the blade, so we'll see how well that comes out as well. So 225, switch that out. .233, so 225 and 233 for this one here. So in looking at the chart, so it's going to be now kind of that new high-end cutlery edge. So that's going to be the range of where this one is for the HK. Now again, you could do more with the knife itself as far as that edge, but that's where it sits currently, is in that new high-end cutlery edge. So that's what we have for that one. So for this knife here, as far as a buy bar or avoid, for myself, I would still avoid, but that's where you have to determine for yourself as far as what you like for this one. And then also let me know your thoughts in the comments below. And I am working on a different sharpness tester too, so that's kind of going along with, remember the game Operation when you're a kid, or maybe even now. So I'm going to incorporate something like that. I'll see how it goes. So keep in contact with that, follow to see if there's anything that comes of interest to you. And if you do want to pick this up, this one does go for, again, $20 to your door, and that will be from him as far as EDC Arizona. So thanks for your time, and let me know what you think.